guys and gals? Now we're here for Drake Wing Game, and a sub email on Twitter, The Gaming Drag. Today I'm coming back at you another Let's Play episode of In Case of Emergency, Wes's Path. So y'all, before we jump into it, I just want to let y'all know that our Patreon is now for as little as $5. Y'all can help support the channel, get some awesome rewards like permanent access to our community Discord server and full access to upcoming Not Safe for Work videos. Anyway, y'all, let's go ahead and jump right back in. Alarm, Chan, you are up, and let's go. Alright. Even after everything, he still thinks he's looking out for you. Don't you see, Kieran? I'm not the villain here. There's nothing out there for us. This is all there is. This world. This Peregrine. This reality. This is your only chance to matter. For it all to mean something. That is what I was trying to give you. All of you. Remus sighs. Blood trickles from the corner of his mouth. If only you could have seen that. He hangs his head and turns away from you. With the toe of your boot, you kick away Remus's weapon, feeling him swallow under the point of your blade. When you slowly lower your sword, it's clear he's given up. There's nowhere left for him to run. You've beaten him. You hardly notice Cedric walking over, his right paw stretched in front of him and his pads facing up like he's cupping a bowl in his hand. It's time to go! He clenches his fingers to make a fist, and you feel the thread in your navel pull tight. Cedric pulls, and the pressure snaps. The thread snipped and carried away by the wind. The blade on your dildo winks out and scatters into stardust. Hey! The ground begins to shake. You watch loose pebbles dance up and down on the floor. There's a rumble from deep in the cavern, and the shadows in the cavern seem to grow longer. The heart pulses with weak blue light, dimming as the world falls apart. Wordlessly, Cedric turns towards the pit in the center of the room and holds his palm out towards it. Like you'd felt before, you feel the familiar sensation of the world's planes rearranging. Just in front of you, a door appears, the hollow steel rectangle you've seen so many times before. It's the other side of the emergency exit, your ticket back to the real world. Cedric, how are you doing this? When Cedric speaks, his tone is far away. It doesn't have to be Peregrine. There are 1,000 worlds waiting for you, 1,000,000 stars unexplored, 100 doors unopened. Cedric blinks. His eyes return to normal for a moment, and he clutches his head. I think it's the crown. I can control the world. No, well, I can destroy it, but I can make it too. I can remake it into anything I wanted. His eyes start to glow again, and for a moment you think he's going to follow up on that revelation. Then Cedric shakes his head, and the light dissipates. No, we have to leave. I just severed the last of your connections to the relics. We just need to get rid of the crown, and... He nods towards the portal. And this world will be destroyed, gone for good. There won't be anything to take its place. Then what are we waiting for? Let's get the hell out of here. Luke sighs and, with his hands on his hips, gives the cavern a final once-over. He sniffles as he wipes the blood from his nose with one hand. Well, this sucks! After long contemplation of the ground, he finally looks up and skips over to the metal door, slipping through without so much as a glance back. And just like that, he's gone. Wes collects himself, the last particles of his shield dissolving into sparkling dust. He exhales loudly and rolls his shoulders back in wide circles, like he's preparing himself mentally and physically for the next bout. Hey, earlier, when you jumped in after me, you were trying to save me. Thanks. That's what I was trying to do, yeah. And it turned out you had to come and rescue me. Wes ducks his head briefly, bashfully. Still, I'd do it again if I knew you were in danger. Whatever happens, thanks, and I'm sorry. And I'm grateful for the time we had together. And I'm sorry. Hey, it's not over yet. Wes smiles and he pulls the door open and steps through it part way, waiting for you on the other side. Coming with? He holds the door for you and you step through, together, feet reaching the other side at the same time. For a few moments, like a glitch in the system, you're not instantly transported back to your body. Your eyes blink as you struggle to readjust to the fluorescent lighting of the basement. You hear the door slam behind you as Cedric emerges, the crown on his head discarded. The door neatly hits his backside as he leaps through the opening. The four of you stand at the basement of Redoubt Hall, bloody, battered, and bruised. Okay, now, water time. Alright. In the background, you hear the low hum of the echo-friendly air conditioning, and you can smell the mold that must be growing on the ceilings. Behind you, the emergency exit door is closed. You try to squint through the small, crisscross pane in the door, but all you see is the pale concrete of a filled-in exit. You feel something hard and rubbery under your foot. It's the dick, utterly harmless, no longer sword-like, and decisively wrecked. It made it out after all, which means... Peregrine is gone. It's over. There's a moment in which you all share bewildered looks, just grateful to be living, unable to fully comprehend exactly just what you've all been through. It's an impossible reprieve granted by the universe, a single pinpoint in time in which two versions of you exist at once, the world trying to recalibrate to its new circumstances. In this insignificant sliver of being you occupy, the world does in fact revolve around you, the tiniest of miracles for the most significant event in the history of you. And then, like it never happened, the moment vanishes, and you're back in your room. You're home. So I make a left onto the highway or a right? Just keep going straight. The road will merge on its own. Kiri's voice comes through the car's speakers, grainy and distorted. Are you sure? Because it looks like... Oh, wait, no, you're right. I was looking at the map upside down. Kieran, a straight line is a straight line no matter how you turn it. Hey, you're talking to a college degree holder now, okay? Uh-huh, could have fooled me. I've got a bona fide bachelor's degree in computer science now. I could apply for an entry-level internship if I wanted. Well, why don't you put that college education to use and pick up some flowers for the wedding? It should be on the way. You rub your chin and pretend to think about it. I'll see if I can fit it into my packed schedule. I was kind of hoping to get in a couple drinks before the rehearsal. Come on, please. Fine, I guess I'll single-handedly save your wedding. You're welcome. Thanks, Kieran. There's a lull in the conversation as you settle into silence. The highway stretches into the horizon, distance marked only by the occasional signpost. You've been driving for almost an hour. There's still another hour left before you get to the ranch that Kyrie picked out for her wedding. You have to get there early to help organize. You're surprised your sister is trusting you with this responsibility, but maybe it has more to do with the fact that there's no one else to help. There's her husband and a few friends, most of them on the room side. You're still not sure if Mom's going to be there before the actual ceremony, but you and Kyrie seem to have a shared understanding that you won't be holding your breaths. So, bringing the +1, Kieran? I'm only asking because I'm trying to get a head count for the seating arrangement. Well, I am bringing someone, but it's no one you know. I'm only asking because we need to make sure all the dinner seats accounted for. You know how particular these things can get. Even just adding one person can throw everything off. If someone hates someone else and they get put together in the same table, someone leaks that someone's been sleeping with someone else's husband, and the whole thing's ruined. Relax, Kyrie. Everything's gonna be fine. Yeah, it's just, this is a big deal, you know? Sure, planning a wedding is a lot of... committing to someone your whole life. Oh, yes, the wedding is costing us tens of thousands of dollars, too, so that's also a big deal. Do you know how much some of these venues cost? You should think about getting into real estate, Kieran, or wedding planning, or... Outside the window, you watch the asphalt shimmer in the distance. You feel grateful for the cool air conditioning in your car. Everything okay? You're not getting cold feet, are you? No. Kiri's voice is sharp. I know what I want. Hey, everything's gonna be okay. You made this decision knowing what you want. Yeah, so have some faith in yourself. I know I'd trust any decision you've made. The line is silent for a while, and you wonder if you've lost reception out here on the highway. There you go, water time. Then you hear her sigh. You sound like Dad. You shudder. Never say that to me again. It makes Kiri laugh, the sound of her voice surprisingly clear over this phone static. You can't remember the last time you made her laugh like this. You're right, I'm sorry. Well, hey, if you do get cold feet, let me know. I'll cause a distraction while you get away. It'll be hard to be the center of attention, obviously, but I'll manage somehow. Kiri snorts fondly. You haven't changed, Kieran. Are you sure? I'm really mature now. I swear I had back pain the other day. I've changed, I think. You frown, catching your reflection in the rearview mirror. But I guess at the end of the day, I'm still just me. Huh. Are you feeling alright, Kieran? I'm good, really. And for once, you mean it. You spent a lot of days feeling not good, so you're something of an expert on what it would be like if you weren't okay. Whatever you're feeling now isn't that. You know what it's like to be trying to run from something. You think about how Remus spent so many years afraid of the resolution, so much so that he'd given up on anything. He'd have given up anything to avoid it. A chapter of your own life is coming to a close, and rather than feeling afraid or anxious, you're content in this moment, driving somewhere you haven't yet arrived. So I'll see you at the wedding venue then. Yeah, drive safe, Kieran. I need you alive in case I need someone to talk me into this wedding, or I guess if I need a getaway driver. You laugh. Sure, love you too. There's a silence on the end of the line, and for a moment you think that's the end of the call. Then your sister's voice comes through, clipped and short, just before the call actually disconnects. Love you too. And then it's just the car, the road, and you, quietly rumbling along the highway. And Wes, also, in the passenger seat next to you. He's been here this entire car ride. He awkwardly clears his throat, one arm propped against the window and looking anywhere but in your direction. So, that was your sister? Yeah, I hadn't talked to her in a while. Not since we, well, you know. Wes nods. Of course he knows. He's probably one of the few people who do. I didn't talk to my family much while I was away either. The last time we talked was with my call with my brother, that night you were over. That was the last night I talked to my sister, too. Apparently, other me was trying to convince her to have half chocolate, half cheese fountains at her wedding. Seriously? That's awful. Okay, I get what you're saying, but in my defense, you'll always have access to sweet and salty, depending on what the occasion calls for. Think about how versatile that would be. Imagine what that would open up for pretzel sticks and... Name one other food that it would work for. Popcorn? That's all I've got. Maybe we don't know because no one has tried this before. I'm not saying we should do this, I'm just playing devil's advocate here because I obviously thought this was a good idea at one point, and who's going to stand up for my ideas if I don't? But do you even agree with the idea? No, it's obviously incredibly embarrassing, but the problem isn't the concept, it's that I brought it up to my sister who clearly wanted to have a sophisticated wedding. So you don't have a problem with the concept? No, I think the concept has potential. Wes nods in thought, chuckling softly to himself. Sure, I guess it has potential. He leans back in his seat, the seatbelt riding up against the collar of his shirt. It's strange to have this much one-on-one time with Wes. Back in Peregrine, it felt like you were always floundering, moving too fast, or spinning in place. But now you're trapped in a 3-hour car ride together. Nowhere to run or to hide. At the very outset, you'd feared you'd realized halfway through that you had nothing in common, and that your entire trip together would be unbearably awkward. Then you had to pull over on a dusty shoulder, call a cab in the middle of nowhere, and then ditch your kind of friend, not really lover, as well as your only car. You shudder to imagine the cost of a rideshare out here. You hadn't had many chances to catch up since escaping Peregrine. Really, everyone had kept their distance since returning, too world-weary, exhausted, and busy trying to piece together what had happened while they were gone. Last he heard, Luke ghosted his internship in favor of playing video games in his apartment all day. He'll be fine. He's smart and resourceful, but right now it doesn't seem like he wants to do much else. You don't blame him. After what you've been through, anyone would deserve a break. As for Cedric, he took Peregrine's in the hardest. But to his credit, he never returned to the basement after that night. You, Wes, and Luke all admitted to making trips, even if only out of habit. There was nothing left for you down there anyway. It was just dust and a non-functioning emergency exit door that led nowhere. Eventually, one day, you woke up to a text that Cedric had gotten a job offer and moved out. No indication of where he was going or what was in store for him next. But you knew somehow that he was going to be okay. On your end, some of the memories of your other self have returned, like remembering snippets of a dream you had or a movie that you watched, this impossible collage of the person you were and the person you could have been. But they're not your memories, not really, just fleeting glimpses into a life that was both yours and not yours all at once. At times, it's still hard to tell the difference between fantasy and reality. So, when you were down there, you had your own world you were trapped in, right? Wes taps his fingers along the window. What did you see? Your face colors with embarrassment. It's not just the memory of what happened, the kiss, the promises, the life you had, but that you might have wanted those things in the first place. But you've seen Wes's world, ugliness and all, and it seems only fair to be vulnerable in return. Well, we were together. I don't know if dating or a couple are the right words, but we had some kind of relationship. It was fun. You said, screw my family for me, and I liked it. At least I did while I was in there. And just to be clear, you're under no obligation. This isn't. I'm not saying this is what I expect or even what I want. Again, it's not that I don't like you. I'm just saying that dreams aren't 100% accurate reflections of the things we want. Did you know I read somewhere that at least a third of people have had a dream where they have sex with a relative? My point is that it doesn't really mean anything. Not really. Well, I'm not saying that it isn't exactly the same. I guess I'm saying that it's complicated, right? Obviously, I don't want the entire world to mindlessly bend to my will. What I want isn't always what I want, you know? Sure, yeah, I get it. He frowns, his ears twitching like there's a buzzing fly he's trying to get rid of. I'm not sure what I wanted is what I want either. Wes studies a single nail, then turns his attention back to the view of the grassland outside. The land here is so flat that the horizon feels a million miles away, endlessly out of your grasp. There's no verifiable end in sight. You could be driving anywhere in the world right now and you wouldn't know. Next to you, Wes's body softly rises and falls with his breathing. You might be anywhere, but you might be going nowhere. But you wouldn't want to be anywhere else but here. You pull over at a rest area for a break, even though there's no real reason to. You could have easily made the drive in a single sitting, but you're not quite ready to arrive at your destination. At least not yet. Wes walks over to the wooden table you're sitting at, perched under the shade of a massive live oak. A thin breeze ruffles your fur and keeps you from overheating. He tosses you a water bottle from a vending machine. You snag it in a two-handed catch, and a bit of a condensation hits the tip of your muzzle, causing your nose to twitch in response. Wes laughs. Cute. You flick the water onto your paws back at him, and he snorts as he tries to bat the droplets away in midair. Yeah, it is cute. Despite everything, you still find yourself smiling a little too wide. Wes's cheeks look warm, and it's not just from the afternoon sun. Considering you've seen his dick, you didn't think there was much more to be embarrassed about. So, what now? My phone says there's about an hour left of the drive, but we'll probably get to the ranch sooner if we go fast. No, I mean... Wes draws circles on the wooden top of the table, obviously trying to find the right words. What now? Oh. You lean back in your seat, wrists pressed against your hips and palms on the sun-warmed wooden slats of the bench. Well, we could just hang out here for a bit. We're not in a rush. We're making pretty good time, actually. Wes grunts in assent. Yeah. I'm not very good at waiting around, but sometimes it feels like that's all I do. You remember the life that other Wes was leading. Parties, drugs, sex. You can only vouch, though, really, for one of those things, but you assume the other two are implicit, and wonder just how slow his life could be now that he's back from Peregrine. But in another sense, you know exactly what he means. There's swimming, and then there's treading water. Do you ever feel like you're getting all the steps wrong? Like you were supposed to screw in A into B before you did C, but somewhere along the way it all got mixed up? Wes thinks about it. He shrugs. No, not really. Most of the time I don't even know what I'm building. But, water time. Probably going to be finishing this. It's like I'm just moving the pieces around, randomly screwing things to other things that I don't even know the letters of. Then I take them apart and do it again. I keep waiting for someone to find me and say, hey, I know you don't actually know what you're doing. You shouldn't be messing with these things. Get out of here. But no one ever does. You wonder how much of this comes with the territory. Who has the guts to call out a guy like Wes? He has everything. Money. Oh, God, my throat. A statuesque build. The kind of blasé stoicism that makes him seem cooler and more above it all than he is. Notably, all things you don't have. And losing him feels like you risk losing your chance to have those things too. The two of you look out over the fields of dry grass that flank the sides of the road. The sky is clear without a cloud in sight. In one hand, Wes twirls a fallen twig between his fingers. You notice for the first time since you've known him that he's not wearing a ring. So, I called my dad recently. I told him I didn't want to get married. The truck wars past like a bullet. What? Seriously? What did he say? Well, he asked if I was serious about the company, if I even cared about taking over and doing what my brothers won't. And? I told him the truth. I don't know. I don't know what I want, because I've never had the chance to find out. All my life I've just been doing what my dad wanted me to, because I thought that would make me happy. I thought all I wanted was to hear him say he was proud of me, that I'd done the right thing by taking on the responsibility no one else would. Obviously, I wasn't following his instructions perfectly. You chuckle at that. I thought I could do it if I just put blinders on and focus on the track in front of me. But that just made me short-sighted. When you're blocking out things around you, well, you don't always get to choose what you're not seeing. And I don't think I was seeing other people very well, or myself. You nod in thought. A stray leaf spirals from the sky and onto the wooden boards of the table between you. The wood is worn smooth under the pads of your hands. It's soft, scored in places where it's met the edge of a knife or a claw. So, what are you going to do now? Wes shrugs. I still don't know, but I want to figure it out on my own terms. As much as they can be my own anyway. The scabs on his knuckles are starting to heal, the skin pink and smooth under the fur that's growing back. Wes flashes you a smile when he catches you looking. You know, there's something different about you, Kieran. What, like in general or since we've met? If it's the former, I have several former teachers you get along with. I don't know what it is. It might be the mutual near-death experience you both had that we can't talk to anyone else about. Wes chuckles. Sure, maybe it's that. I don't know, maybe it's just me. He smiles, twiddling his thumbs. You reach over and give his hand a squeeze, running your thumb over his knuckles and enjoying the way his face warms at the touch. Finally, Wes jerks his head towards the parking lot. Time to go? You and Wes walk back to the car, your pelts baking under the summer sun. The asphalt shimmers in the distance like a mirage, an oasis on the horizon that never seems to get closer. But maybe that doesn't matter. Maybe there was never anything to chase anyway. Maybe it was here all along. As you go to open the seat to the driver's side, Wes stops you. Hang on. You watch his throat bob as he swallows, the rise and fall of his chest next to you. Before we go, can I kiss you? A laugh bubbles up from your chest, warm and sparkling. You know you don't have to ask. Wes smiles. When he speaks, his voice rumbles with relief. I want to. Ooh, boy. Wes leans in. For the fourth time, he kisses you. He's already a familiar lover and still a new one at this point. You feel the press of his muzzle against your lips, his hands sliding down your back and into the pockets of your shorts. You cant your hips into his, and the two of you languidly grind against each other as the blood starts flowing between your legs. Wes sighs into your mouth as he pins your pelvis against the hot, dusty door of your car. Your fur protects you from direct contact with the metal, but you feel heat radiate from the two surfaces you're trapped against. It's nowhere enough friction to get you off, barely even dry humping. Neither wholly romantic nor sexy. It's just nice to be pressed against him, feeling his body move against yours. Uncertain where this moment is going without feeling insecure as to where the two of you are going. You're discovering here the flip side of uncertainty. It's excitement, adventure, and thrill. It's hope, and it's the unavoidable present and the unknowable future. It's on the road ahead of you, the baggage you carry with you, and it's between your two bodies right now, Wes's nose against your own. As you break apart, Wes licks his lips. He's resting his paws on the sides of your hips, his thumbs worrying little circles against flesh and bone. Sweat beads on your brow. You don't know if it's him or the afternoon heat getting to you. You think Kyrie will be mad if we're just a little bit late? Wes laughs. The air seems to vibrate with life as he does. I don't know. Want to find out? Alright, guys. Oh, I loved it. Is that... Seriously, like... Oh. I really like that. Even the credits are really cool, too. Anyway, y'all, I'm going to go ahead and pause it right there. Thank y'all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I'm going to have a commentary when I do the, I guess, when I do Cedric's ending, or Cedric's path. And I'll kind of tell y'all about my general feel about what the story might actually be about, like what I think it's an allegory for, and stuff like that. Anyway, y'all, to the lovely patrons and those who are possibly looking up to sign up to our Patreon, stick around after the video ends, and y'all will see some lovely new thank you animation done by Elle. Elle has been hard at work doing awesome things for the channel. Anyway, y'all, I love you all. I'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye!